Maddox.
Yep.
Siren.
Yes.
Weitzel.
Yes.
Worley.
Yes.
Urevich.
Yes.
Carter.
Yes.
And Cop.
Yes. We also got some semi-annual review of closed session minutes, so I need a motion to approve the board's semi-annual review of unreleased closed meeting minutes and to keep sealed the closed session minutes from the last 6 months, specifically June 8th, June 22nd, July 25th, August 16th, August 22nd, September 14th, October 13th, October 24th, and November 21st, 2016, as the need to maintain confidentiality continues to exist. The need for confidentiality still exists as to all remaining closed meeting minutes listed on the attachment, 6-month review of closed session written minutes and audio recordings older than 18 months, 1998 through November of 2016, to protect an individual's privacy or the district's interest, and shall remain sealed unless previously opened.
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I second.
Thank you. Betsy, please.
Yes. Siren.
Yes.
Weitzel.
Yes.
Worley.
Yes.
Urevich.
Yes.
Carter.
Yes.
Maddox.
Yes.
And Cop.
Yes. We also need a motion to extend non-disclosure of the recordings of the closed session portions of the board's closed meetings set forth below for the reason that the need to maintain confidentiality continues to exist. Therefore, keeping the audio recordings sealed for closed session meeting recordings older than 18 months, specifically June 24th, 22nd, 8th, 4th, 2015, May 28th, 26th, 21, 20th, 19th, 18th, 16th, 15th, 12, 11, 5 of 2015, April 30th, 27th, 23rd, 21, 14, 13 of 2015, March 31st, 30th, 24th, 23rd, 19th, 10th, and 3rd of 2015, February 26th, 23rd, 19th, 16th, 2015, and January 26th of 2015.
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Thank you. Betsy, please.
Yes. Weitzel.
Yes.
Worley.
Yes.
Urevich.
Yes.
Carter.
Yes.
Maddox.
Yes.
Siren.
Yes.
And Cop.
Yes. Okay, moving on to 4. We got a truth and taxation levy hearing. I believe this is the time where I announce the hearing process, and I don't believe there's any modifications.
There are no
from last
modifications
month's
to the
meeting, so-
presentation.
Yeah, so anybody can ask questions, the board or the audience. So you'll help us with questions if we have any, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
There's the estimated tax levy. It's $28,313,081. We are below the 5% that would have required this meeting, but we felt it was important for consistency to have the meeting regardless. There's how we've allocated the monies. And it's going to be a reduction for the average homeowner whose house is valued at $180,000. Estimated reduction of $44.52. Any questions?
No questions? We're all good? All right, and at this time, I need a motion to close this hearing.
So moved.
Thank you. A second?
I second that.
Thanks, Greg. Betsy, please.
Yep. Worley.
Yes.
Urevich.
Yes.
Carter.
Yes.
Maddox.
Yes.
Siren.
Yes.
Weitzel.
Yes.
Cop.
Yes. Moving on to communications, we've got an opportunity for citizens to address the school board on any agenda item. Anybody wish to address the board on any agenda item? Okay, hearing none, then let's move on to 6 consent agenda items. We got 6.1 to 6.7. Does anybody wish to pull any of them? Okay, then do I have a motion to approve 6.1 to 6.7? Thanks, Brandon. Do I have a second?
Second.
Lisa, thanks. Betsy, please.
Yurevich.
Yes.
Carter.
Yes.
Maddox.
Yes.
Siren.
Yes.
Weitzel.
Yes.
Worley.
Yes.
Cott.
Yes. Moving on, personnel consent items. We got 7-1 to 724. Anybody wish to pull any of them?
I'd like to pull 7.23 increase ESP sub-pay rates.
Okay. Any others? Nope, we're all good then. Do I have a motion to approve 7-1 to 722 and 724 as presented?
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Betsy, please.
Carter.
Yes.
Maddox.
Yes.
Siren.
Yes.
Weitzel.
Yes.
Worley.
Yes.
Yurevich.
Yes.
Cott.
Yes. 723, the increase the ESP sub-pay rates. Susan, you had a
Right, I just
question?
want to make the comment that I appreciate Ashley Ronak taking market comps and recognizing that the district needed to adjust some of its pay rates to permit greater efficiency and ease when there's staffing shortages. So in any event, this needs, obviously Ashley plans to do this as, on a timely and frequent basis as needed. So I was happy to see this, that the market research was done.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, then we need a motion to approve it as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Second, thank you. Betsy, please.
Yes. Carter.
Yes.
Maddox.
Yes.
Siren. Weitzel.
Yes.
Worley.
Yes.
Yurevich.
Yes.
And Cott.
Yes. Moving on to old business, 8.1, the approval of the 2016 tax levy. We have a resolution and a certificate, right? I need to read this resolution. Okay, resolution to adopt tax levy for 2016. The Board of Education of Ball-Chatham, CUSD number 5, County of Sangamon, State of Illinois, has ascertained and determined, and we hereby certify that we require the sum of $20,814,000 to be levied as a special tax for educational purposes, and the sum of $3,900,000 to be levied as a special tax for operations and maintenance purposes, and the sum of $1,400,000 to be levied as a special tax for transportation purposes, and the sum of $113,080 to be levied as a special tax for working cash fund, and the sum of $734,000 to be levied as a special tax for municipal retirement purposes, and the sum of $852,000 to be levied as a special tax for Social Security purposes, and the sum of $200,000 to be levied as a special tax for fire prevention and safety, and the sum of $150,000 to be levied as a special tax for special education, and the sum of $150,000 to be levied as a special tax for leasing on the taxable property of our school district for the year 2016. Therefore, be it resolved that such amounts shall be certified and returned to the County Clerk of Sangamon County on or before the last Tuesday in December 2016, and the President and Secretary of this Board certify that the tax levy in the form and manner as prescribed and stated on the attached certificate of tax levy. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Betsy, please.
Yes. Maddox.
Yep.
Siren.
Yes.
Weitzel.
Yes.
Worley.
Yes.
Yurevich.
Yes.
Carter.
Yes.
And Cott.
Yes. Is that all we needed on that one then? So moving on to new business, 9-1 show choir travel. Mr. Lee?
Similar to last month, anytime we have a group that is going to take a trip that crosses state lines, I like to bring it to you. Show choir, who was turned into a nationally recognized group, has 4 trips that would cross state lines. 2 of them they come back from, they're Missouri, Indiana. And then 2 others that are overnight stays. Their boosters pay for the majority of everything. We have some budgeted transportation costs and such, but essentially we're asking permission to let the group travel across state lines and come back. So we've done most of these trips for a while.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Is this normal that they take 4 a year? Or is it?
It's increased in the last, I'd say, 5 years as they become more of a nationally known group. That it's usually, I think it started out with, I mean, when I first got here it was 2, and now it's 4. And I had a discussion with Mr. Guimar that, they couldn't all be overnights and things like that, so the 2.
One of them is over spring break.
What's that?
The Nashville trip is over
Yeah, and
spring
all of them, there's only 1 day of school that's missing all of
Oh.
these.
And this is our blessing for all of them.
Yes,
So you
just
don't have
because we're all.
You don't have to break them down and come
Right.
to us individually.
Yeah, unless you'd want it that way.
And remember, that show choir won the national champions, not last year, but the year before.
Yes, and we're returning for that.
No, the national.
We have a motion, or on the table, do I have a second? Brandon does. Any further discussion? Betsy, please.
Siren.
Yes.
Whitesell. Worley.
Yes.
Yurevich.
Yes.
Carter.
Yes.
Maddox.
Yes.
Cobb.
Yes. Thanks, Jim. Moving on, 9.2, GIS has some course changes for 2017. Welcome, Ms. Gregors.
Evening. I'm going to follow suit with the rest of this very quick meeting. We don't have a lot of changes going on. The first page that you'll open is due to one of our specialist courses, just a couple of changes in the wording of how speech and drama will be taught in this 9 weeks class. That's a pretty quick change. If you go to the second page, Betsy, one of the things I'd like to compliment Jen and the administrative team on is that we have created equally represented curricular teams in all of the curricular areas in each of the buildings. They are alignment teams, and I think it's played a very integral role in making sure that all of our curricular areas are both vertically and horizontally aligned. And if you the math changes that you see are due to the extensive time that these teams have met together. And it's not that we're changing so much of the curriculum, other than the fact that we are just making sure that we are not repeating things that don't need to be repeated so much over and over at grade levels. Once again, if you scroll down into the social studies, there has been some extensive time spent in social studies due to the social studies Illinois standards. And our instructional teams, instructional coaches, along with our curricular teams, have been talking some heavy changes in social studies, and that's why our most extensive changes are focused in the social studies area in our curricular book here. Really what you need to focus on in social studies is it's moving to an inquiry-based study system. They are changing some of the grade level, what areas and what time frames, which you can see in this also. But inquiry-based is really where the students are headed, with a focus of an essential question and then all of the time frames thereafter. Most of all, what the change is, along with inquiry-based, is how history now affects us and what we do with those historical moments. So you see the most extensive changes there, and I think that those will be coming in the other grade levels as well. Those are the GIS changes. Thank you.
Any
Now I'll
questions?
introduce Tina.
Yeah, we gotta approve all these. We'll just go ahead and approve them one at a time, if that's all right. You can just stay up there if you'd like. Any discussion on the GIS?
I appreciate, and Jen, thank you for focusing the history inquiry-based. For so too long, to this day, kids are being told, memorize this date, memorize that date, and this name and that name, but there's no thought about what does that mean to us today. And when I think about those sorry, Jim, those Honors World History kids, in freshman year in high school, that's a separate discussion, but thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Nope, then I need a motion to approve the GIS course changes for the 2017-2018 school year.
So moved.
Thank you, and I have a second.
I'll second.
Thanks, Linda. Betsy, please.
Yep. Weitzel?
Yes.
Worley?
Yes.
Yurevich?
Yes.
Carter?
Yes.
Maddox?
Yes.
Siren?
Yes.
Cop?
Yes. GMS, 9-3, course changes, you got some for us, Ms. Rudd?
Just a few. Good evening. The basic change that you will see is when you look at the honors courses for language arts and social studies and science, we wanted consistency in regards to Lexile level. They were about 25 points off, and we decided, there needs to be more consistency with that. And I'd really like to thank Corey Yao. She's one of our instructional coaches. She's the one that actually brought that to our attention. And the Lexile level just refers to the sentence length and the accuracy or use of words, and we want to make sure that students that are getting in that honors level realize that the reading level is higher. So we want to make that known. And then you all know Tracy Kimball very well, and she's very detailed, and so she is our math department coordinator. And with the new resources that we now have available, she just very much wanted to be sure to point out the various topics that are studied at each track. And so there's just some slight change in wording. Nothing has really changed, but wanted to bring that to your attention. And then lastly, when we look at the science, actually a couple more things here. With the science, they've had to switch up a little bit because they're standards-based, inquiry-based as well now. And so now there's a slight change in which the first half of the course is now devoted to physics and the second half focuses on chemistry. So that's been kind of flip-flopped. And then when we look at the very last thing, it has to do with the the foreign languages that our 8th grade students have the opportunity to take at the high school. We just wanted to point out that that is a very rigorous encore class. And if students are wanting to get into the AP foreign language their senior year, it's very important that they take this their 8th grade year to get them ready. But at the same time, we point out to the students and to the parents, it's not just learning, the colors and the numbers in the foreign language. They're really kind of diving into it, and it's rigorous, and we want the students to realize that if they earn a D or an F that first quarter or so, they probably need to be looking at a more appropriate encore course. Thank you.
Any questions? Comments? I think we're good. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hearing none, then I need a motion to approve the GMS 2017-2018 course changes as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. I have a second.
Second.
You're fine.
Lisa, thank you. Betsy, please.
Yes. Worley?
Yes.
Yurevich?
Yes.
Carter?
Yes.
Maddox?
Yes.
Siren?
Yes.
Weitzel?
Yes.
And Cop?
Yes. And moving on, 9-4, we got some GHS changes too. Mr.
Yeah, by number, there are a whole bunch of changes. Most of them are wording changes or a grammatical change or things like that, but there's quite a few. Just clarifying some different descriptors, clarifying some language that makes it easier for guidance to interpret and help parents and students interpret what it means to take a particular course or go down a particular road, to take a particular action for early graduation or retaking a course. It doesn't really change a whole lot about what many of these say, but it makes it easier for us to justify what we're doing. So some of them are minor changes in regards to that. Then the course description changes. There are quite a few in terms of prerequisites, especially in the arts, simply because they changed the base course And that base course was listed in most of the prerequisites, so most of the prerequisites had to change just to add that base course name. Some of the more major things, the retake language in terms of if a student wants to retake a course, we've clarified that a little bit to mean a student can only retake a course with approval of the counselor and the principal if they have failed the course or if they didn't do well enough, of course, to understand the next level of that course, and they need to take it the very next semester. So it's things we did before, but again, just kind of clarifying it a little bit. The dry red language changed to help get some kids in earlier. Kids can now, we'll place kids in the course now when they're 14 if they're going to turn 15 before the end of the school year. So that'll help us a little bit in getting some more students through in that regard. And a lot of these are name changes to the courses. And again, that's just to be consistent with, some of the course changes are to be consistent with what Lincoln Land calls their courses. Some of the course changes, like the APs, are to be consistent with what AP actually calls that course. So we're just trying to get everything in line with the different groups that we work with as well, whether it's AP or local college and so on. We removed the designations on the early bird athletics and the athletic physical conditioning courses. Early bird used to say boys after it, and athletic used to say girls after it. Now that designation has been removed, so they could do either. I don't think it's going to change a thing about what goes on, but they could. So we officially put the Sangamon County CEO program in the course book. This is a great program. We have 3 kids in it right now. They meet early in the morning, like 7 in the morning, and they meet with all kinds of business leaders and go to different businesses. It's it's been a great course for our kids, so we added that. And then a couple of courses we're dropping. The intro to social studies, just no one's taken that for years. In the honor studio art, those kids will now be geared into 2D art and 3D art, which the art teachers tell me is a better opportunity for them to lead into the full-blown AP art. So,
Okay, that's a question.
lots of changes, just different.
May I ask a question that's moving up to the dual credit, the mention of the dual credit courses? It's right at the top of the page. One of the things that I don't really have a good understanding on is the dual credit courses that are given by our high school teachers. Is the syllabi that they put together comparable to the syllabi that the Lincoln Land teachers
Yes.
would provide for the state?
Yes, it has to be approved by them.
Okay, so like
Books are
if Lincoln Land has 3 papers due, then the high school has to have 3 papers
Yes,
due.
they dictate
Okay.
pretty much. It's kind of like AP. They dictate what goes on in that curriculum,
Okay,
including the course books.
including the books.
okay.
And it says it in the handbook, but you didn't really say it there on the foreign language. Oh, I'm sorry, Susan, go ahead.
I'm done.
Okay. So that's AP, that for the foreign language, the AP classes, it's those, what listed there, it says in the course book that it's AP language and culture, or whatever it was called,
Yeah,
correct?
it will now. Like we've just been calling AP French or AP German.
And you're now just calling it AP French language and
Right,
culture.
exactly, and that matches what AP does.
Is there any hope, or I know that the French and German classes have combined teaching 2 courses in the same group of kids,
Correct.
the same classroom.
Which
there
is not
any
a good
hope?
idea.
It's not going well, and I've been hearing from parents who are complaining about it. Is there any hope that that's gonna?
Well, in terms of enrollment, I don't have a whole lot of hope. So we had some ideas of what we might try when it comes to registration time, but the numbers have not been good lately. So, if you split them, because it's not a good idea to put them together, then you're looking at a couple really small classes. And so we talked a little bit about this last year. it's gonna come down to decision time, what we wanna do in regards to where those go.
Right, because the kids aren't learning what they should be
Sadly,
learning.
right.
And so they're not even going to be prepared for the AP class well, unless, or to do AP class, okay. I just had to get it out there.
The double classes are not a good idea.
So then, recognizing that the double classes are not a good idea, then it comes down to looking at student, enrollment for specific courses. Is it best to reconfigure all of that? I think if
That's
it
correct.
doesn't work, then
Well, then,
let's not continue.
Well-
If it's not a good educational experience for the entire class.
Right, and you gotta, there's a lot of factors that go on here. If you take a look at, and it all depends what the number's gonna look like when we start going through this. If you come to a situation where, perhaps you gotta combine these courses because the numbers are so small, but if you say, okay, we're just not gonna run those two, or we're just gonna run one of them, or whatever, then are you gonna gain anything by reducing that course? In other words, is it gonna save you half a teacher, or is it gonna save you a teacher? If that's not the case, then you go ahead and run both of them. It's a philosophy that's changed over the last few years with different leadership. So you're recognizing something that we have to look at closely, because I don't know that I have anything in my head that tells me right now that the numbers are going to go up. So we're going to have to see what happens when we come to February.
My concern would be if we promise kids that we're going to be able to get them to this level so that they can get AP, which would get them.
That's always been the philosophy.
Yeah, and then we can't pull the rug out from under them.
Well, there might be alternatives, Linda.
They tried one and it didn't work. It could be another alternative might work.
Right.
Yeah. I think we have to keep an open mind about it, but I think we recognize that there's an issue here that we got to consider how we handle it. I don't know what that answer is right now. These things fluctuate sometimes based on what they've experienced going through. We had a bad experience teaching-wise a couple of years ago. We lost someone who, because the family moved, who was an outstanding French teacher. The first replacement was a mistake, to say the least, and that hurt the course. It really did, and we're still seeing some of the effects of that. So, that has improved, so who knows what the numbers will do.
I think fiscally, one could say that if the numbers don't support holding these classes separately, that you cancel the courses. And I fear that that's doing our students a big disservice. In this world economy, we should be adding languages, not taking away languages. And that's my personal belief.
And I think that's something that together as a school district we have to study, because we have to really focus on languages that students are going to be using as they move forward. Many schools have transitioned from it's usually been Spanish, French, and German, and many school districts are transitioning to where you're having Spanish, which is certainly becoming predominant, along with different dialects of Chinese and so forth. And so in terms of preparing these kids to be successful in the quote-unquote business world per se, we're going to have to look at that, absolutely.
Well, whatever we decide, there's got to be a plan along those lines. If you're going to look at, if you think you need to phase something out, then you better figure out what you're going to phase in. Because a school like this should not be sitting with one foreign language.
Right.
Not if we want families to continue to want to be here.
Sure.
Well, and a plan that lasts
Yeah.
a while, years.
The Mandarin and the Arabic are starting to really grow in schools.
No.
I just had a question. I don't know why, but I can't get to the parent-student handbook.
Oh, the course book? Okay.
The link's not working, and then I couldn't find it on the high
Okay.
school's website, right? But I was curious as to, I know we had a student come to see us last year before graduation and made a pretty good argument for what to do with, I think it was free study hall. And I was just gonna look to see, I didn't see whether or not we had made any changes with regard to
That will be the handbook, that won't be the course book. Okay?
Okay,
And
but
that comes together.
that's a different time.
It's a different meeting.
Okay,
And we're revamping that whole process with our new administrative team. I'm kind of excited about what they might be able to do.
okay, cool. I just, study hall was listed in the
Yeah,
course book part and then I went to find
right.
it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Any other questions for Mr. Lee?
Okay.
Thanks, Jim. All right, we need a motion then to approve the course changes at GHS for the 2017-2018 school year.
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Brandon. Betsy, please.
Yes. Yurevich.
Yes.
Carter.
Yes.
Metz.
Yes.
Siren.
Yes.
Weitzel.
Yes.
Worley.
Yes.
And Cop.
Yes. Moving on, 9.5, we got a first reading of policies from the October 2016 press. This information only, I believe, at this time. There's quite a few of them there. Somebody's been doing some
Yeah.
reading.
Yeah, well, it was a good weekend for me to read. Linda and I went through them. I came up with several questions and changes that I sent to Joe and to Doug. And if you noticed today, you had some of them were changed with the changes that I had asked to be made. And if you wanted to see the exact changes, I'd be happy to send them to anybody who would like. So it was clarification of language, consistency in language between the actual administrative guidelines versus and the policy. Because you'll see, like, some will say, where does it? It'll say, like, I'm trying to look for an example. It'll have a number, and sometimes it has like AP1, so Administrative Procedure 1. But the language in that didn't really match the language in the policy, so I just went through and just asked, Joe, needs to be the same language, or there were a couple other things. And remember that we can always, we can't do anything obviously different. We have to enact what the law says, which is what I would say 99% of this was all law, actually all of it was all due to the laws that were passed on the last legislative session. But we can go above and beyond that if we want to. But there was only one situation where I actually asked for, well, I don't even know, it was maybe just one. So,
Anybody got any questions? Comments? Okay, thank you, Policy Committee, for going through that. That was information only, so moving on to communications, 10-1, future board meeting dates. We got a transportation meeting on the 9th of January, and our regular meetings on January 23rd and February 27th of next year.
Do you think we could schedule sort of an update on just a discussion about maybe looking at the superintendent goals and fine tuning, or maybe taking a second look and seeing if we need some elaboration or some fine tuning on the wording sometime either in.
We did finish that, didn't we?
I'll send out some dates, because I also have to send out our facility and grounds
Okay.
meeting dates, so let me send that out.
That would be
Put those on the
great.
calendar.
Any others we need to know about?
Well, we'll have a finance committee meeting
Correct.
in there. Oh, those are board
That's
meeting
already
dates,
scheduled,
not just
though.
committee meetings, is that, okay.
We've set all those committees.
Yeah, we set the committee meetings.
Yep.
Okay, we're all good with dates then? Okay, moving on to 10-2, this is an opportunity for citizens to address the school board on any topic. Anybody want to bring anything up to the school board?
I do. I have a concern on.
Could I
You need your name.
get you, if you want, just, you could stand up and just tell us your name and appreciate it.
Faith Winston Yainer. I'm a special needs aide at Glenwood Middle School. And I have a concern on the proper procedure in receiving time off without pay, or even just time off in general. It seems like there's some confusion on who is to approve it. And I just want clarification on this. Of course, probably everybody read in the Chatham Clarion, my husband wrote a letter, and just throw that one out there. So it was really very confusing, and the morale, I felt very unappreciated as a Ball-Chatham employee. So I need to know kind of what we are supposed to do as an employee to get time off.
Okay.
And also to make sure that we don't have to lie and say that we're sick to get the time off.
I'll just clarify, having been on that side of the table, we can't sit here and give you answers because we have to speak as one body. So just be aware of that, because that comes across wrong, that like, we don't care, but we can't say anything, basically.
Okay.
Tonight. I mean, we can research this with Dr. Wood.
Yeah. Well,
There needs to be something done, like a set way of doing it for everybody, in an honest, ethical, responsible way, like we teach all the kids. And when I was going through it, I did not feel that that was a very ethical way of doing it. It's having to lie and say, I'm going to be sick. And then that puts the teacher that I work with in a really bad predicament because she won't have an aide, a sub, or anybody helping her. So it's just something that needs to be maybe thought out a little bit better, and maybe taken all of the special needs aides and everybody into consideration.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll definitely look into that and get back with you with an answer.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Any agenda item, or I'm sorry, any concern? Doesn't have to be an agenda item. All right, hearing none then.
So moved.
Need a motion to adjourn in a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Good night, everybody. Thanks for coming, and have a
Happy
Merry Christmas.
holidays, Happy New Year.
All that stuff.